One step changed my life. By one step, yes, I mean literally one step. This is what it looks like at the edge of a 10-meter platform. Scary, right? Yeah, you'd be crazy to say no. It's the height of 3 18-wheelers, 5 Jeep Wranglers, or 7 smart cars. Once you jump off, you're hitting the water at 35 miles per hour. From a first-hand experience, you're letting yourself free fall from an incredible height. It's gut-wrenching. The knots in your stomach are like no other. It's that feeling where you can't stay at ease, your mind is so clouded in what could go wrong that you're no longer sensing what's right in front of you. To simulate this, I'll use a lock. This lock represents any obstacles we may face in our lifetime. Unlocking it represents overcoming that hurdle. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There's only one right key to this lock. There's no other way around it. Pulling the shackle? Useless. That represents our negative thoughts and pessimistic mindsets when we approach the unknown. It simply won't work. It just makes the person attempting to open the lock very irritated. There's panic, frustration. However, utilizing the fear that takes over in these situations, using it as your friend and grabbing it by the arm and pulling it with you, we can start to shape our key. With the right key, our lock opens, and simultaneously, opportunities do as well. Opportunities that can lead us to a world full of new possibilities, a world where we can be challenged and change, a world where we can feel alive. My lock was this 10-meter platform. I was at a national diving competition in Coral Springs, Florida in 2019. After the 3 days of competition were over, athletes were allowed to gather up on the 10-meter board and jump off. All of my friends and teammates were rushing over to claim their spot on that tower. But me, I was petrified. I wanted to be like everyone else and get that adrenaline rush, but at that moment, my mind was everywhere but on that tower. All I had to do was take one single step off of the edge. One little step. It's a process we repeat thousands of times in a day. But on that ledge, I was paralyzed. I froze. Nevertheless, the cheering of other athletes and coaches, as well as my own family, started to slowly pull me out of my shell and reignite my confidence. That was my key. Part of my mind was thinking about the embarrassment I'd feel if my family flew all this way just to watch me give up. Another part was wondering what it would feel like to perform Olympic-level dives from this height. The voice in my head telling me it's okay was silenced by emotional distress. All of these conflicting thoughts clouded my mind. It was just that one single step. It was ultimately that thought of potential embarrassment that nudged me in the lower back and said, jump. On the outside, I seemed like just another crazy kid. But on the inside, something unlocked for me. All of the weight I was carrying had simply vanished. Physically, I was free falling. But emotionally, I instantly knew that was my happy place. That single step was all that it took to hook me into diving. That single step gave me an outlet, one that I treasure to this day. Now, typically when it comes to fight or flight, we always try to find our quickest and safest route around an obstacle. However, it's what lies within and beyond that journey that should be treasured. We're so occupied with this roadblock ahead of us that we often overlook the self-discovery we experienced. Now, if I simply ran off the ledge of that platform recklessly, I might not have found my calling. But because of those fearful moments, I've recognized my love for a sport, I've recognized how I react to fear, and I feel more confident and connected with myself today. 5-time Olympic champion gymnast Nadia Comaneci said, "I don't run away from a challenge because I'm afraid. Instead, I run towards it because the only way to escape fear is to trample it beneath your feet." 28-time Olympic medalist Michael Phelps said, "If you want to be the best, you have to do things other people aren't willing to do." Our world's most decorated athletes and Olympians have a notably strong mindset about fear. They strive to constantly accomplish their goals and open an insane amount of locks. That's what makes them great. They've opened the opportunities to their highest potential. It's not an easy feat by any means, though. These high-level athletes are forcibly pushing the barriers of what they've ever known. So why does this matter to all of us? Simply put, we can use this same mindset to fuel us in our day-to-day lives. While we may not be on international television, winning awards, or standing on podiums, this lesson can rid our lives of a repetitive nature. You know, that repetition of waking up, going to work or school, then coming home and binging Netflix for hours. The entire realm of sports and competition forces athletes to set goals, work hard, and push their limit barrier. With this, there's not much monotony in their lives. The fear they overcome, the fear they use, the fear they were once startled by now places them on a podium. However, the reality of average adults in our societies has become so generic and static that they are getting lost in the repetition. With 71% of Americans working a 9-to-5 job, and 70% of those Americans being in a stereotypical cubicle office, suicide and depression rates in the workforce are at an all-time high. So much of this repetitive nature has consistently degraded our populations, and it's up to us to break that cycle. So, does every lock magically give you new direction once it's opened? Not necessarily. But recognizing the opportunities created by overcoming fear is an amazing power. I think of it as a sixth sense. Without accomplishment and realizing the new world we can access by overcoming fear, we would be left in a world of black and white. But serenity and accomplishment from passing through these locks unleash a world of color. And it's not that I want us all to become adrenaline junkies who jump off of every cliff they can find, but I leave you with this one question. Where in your day can you find a bit of fear to break away from the monotony of life? Because piece by piece, lock by lock, brick by brick, we can build our future to unleash our highest potential. Because all you need is that one single step. Thank you.